Hey, everybody, it's the Combatcast with the man they call Dave Chevy, episode 151. And Chevy, took us a while, but as people may know, we got a sponsor. Tell them about it.
That's right. We are sponsored by Game Up. They make a hard hydration drink, thirst-quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes, fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Comes in a variety pack. Get you some.
Full flavor, only 110 calories. It's low carb. Don't worry about nothing. You're all set. We got you covered. And tell people what we got coming up.
All right. No fights next weekend. So we will be reviewing the UFC fights for this weekend and also the big boxing match, Usyk versus Fury. And then June 1st, we'll be covering UFC 302 Makhachev versus the Gilly Goose Dustin Poirier. And then June 8th, UFC, I believe the main event is going to be Cannonier and Imavov, but the UFC doesn't do their website properly, so it says to be determined on there.
Okay. Well, we will see. Old TBD. Man, I'm really excited already about Poirier and Makhachev. I know it might not work out for us because we're Poirier guys, and that's an extremely tough fight in an uphill battle. But man, I just love that Dustin's getting one more shot at this. You know, that's what I wanted for him.
Yeah, for real. I'm sure he's a sizable underdog, but we know he has the power and, the desire to get it done. So we'll see.
We'll see. Well, like we said, boxing next week, we'll be talking about it. So let's talk a little bit about it right now there. Usyk versus Fury. Usyk is coming in this fight. This is the fight a lot of people want to see Fury fight. But, Fury's coming off that fight over Francis Ngannou where he got surprisingly taken to the limit. And we were all talking about how good Francis was, but then Anthony Joshua, put the brakes on all that. So I don't know. You worried about Fury going into this fight? What do you think?
No, I think a lot of that was Fury underestimating Francis. And then obviously AJ had seen what Francis was going to bring and prepared properly. I think that Fury knows that Usyk will be his toughest fight of all time. Two undefeated guys going at it. This is the best of what boxing has to offer, honestly. All 4 heavyweight belts will be on the line, so a unification bout for one heavyweight champion in boxing is a big deal. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia, where they do all big fights now, apparently. Card starts at 2 p.m. Scheduled walk time because boxing is terrible about pacing. The scheduled walk time for the fighters is 6:05 p.m. Eastern time.
6 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe 6:30.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, could be 7, could be 8.
Yeah.
That's not bad for boxing. That's the one thing about Saudi Arabia. We'll get earlier things if you're watching it. Tyson Fury, for those who are wondering, 34-0-1, 24 knockouts. That one draw is with Deontay Wilder when he came back after being off years. Basically got knocked out and came back to life and fought his ass off and outboxed him. Every other fight, he's been untouchable. And Usyk is 21-0 with 14 KOs. So 2 undefeated boys, unification title fight. As far as boxing goes, I don't think, like you said, you can get much better than this as far as the stakes and what we got here. So we shall see. I'll pick Fury still. Until someone shows me they can beat him, I'm going to go with Fury.
I'm going to pick Usyk. I think technically he's just so good. And, Fury will be hard to hit for the most part, but Usyk's going to stay very safe. So we'll see.
All right. Well, try this again. There we go. All right. We had some fights this past weekend. Derek Lewis, my man, coming up big. Chevy, we could talk about the main event, co-main event, any other fights you want to spotlight from this past weekend.
Yeah, I want to shout out the Billy Goff, Trey Waters fight. Billy is a local fighter from here in Connecticut. he ended up losing a decision, but it was very close. You could have scored any round for him, I thought. He also ate an illegal knee that the ref was having a real bad night. This ref in particular, and he didn't stop the fight or notice it or do anything at all. But Billy will be back, so shout out to him. Also, Chase Hooper versus Vyacheslav Borishev. Best performance by far for Chase. He knocked down a decorated kickboxer and then just bossed him on the ground. He looked much improved from where we've seen him. So shout out to Chase Hooper. Excited for where his career could potentially go from here. He's only like 20 something. Yeah, I don't know, he's very young. So, and then also Waldo Cortez Acosta beat that Robeles Despain, the Cuban guy who like didn't have a fight go over 40 seconds. He got a decision win. He realized, he showed everyone that Despain has 0 takedown defense and 0 ground game. So killed a lot of his hype for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's get in this co-main and main event though. So it's Joaquin Buckley versus Nursultan Ruzboyev.
Yeah. So I forgot to tell you this. I didn't get to see the main event and co-main event this week. Okay. So your thoughts, and then I'll tell you some things I see. But first of all, too, shout out to Yuri CTM, who's in the comments here, and agrees that the ref on the Jeff Waters fight was smoking crack, illegal knees, does not even address the one judge. Had that 30. What the fuck?
I'm with you 100%. That judge that had it 30-27, I don't know what he was watching, but
yeah. I did see that fight, by the way.
Yeah,
so that was horrible. But anyway, I did miss the 2 fights we're going to talk about. So
well, Buckley got a decision win. He looked good against a dangerous opponent, but he really dominated everywhere. So good for him. He had a call out of Conor McGregor afterwards, where he talked about Conor's last name and called him McHose or something like that. The crowd was electric for him, though, so that was great to see. Shout out to Joaquin Buckley going forward.
He's superstardom potential, that guy, in terms of being I don't know if he's going to be a champ, but he's got fun fighter already written all over him, and he could definitely fit in that Cowboy Cerrone mode, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if he'll be champ either, but he is exciting to watch for sure. He brings it, and he's fun on the mic. So,
since I felt bad about not checking out these fights yet, I did come up with a couple potential opponents. Buckley, I'd like to see him fight Stephen Thompson.
That's a big step up. Yeah. I mean, after beating a monster in Ruzbayev, I mean, I guess. I don't know if Wonderboy wants that smoke, but we'll see. That's a good matchup. But let's move on to another great talker on the mic. Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. I did not get this one right. I thought that Nascimento was just going to kind of ride Derek out the way that Almeida did. Well, apparently Derek was working on some stuff. We talked about it last week, but he said that he had some stuff worked out that he didn't tell his coaches about. He came out and obviously he threw that like high kick, which he's done before. But then he was going for takedowns against this black belt giant Brazilian. And he actually like judo tossed the guy and took him down. So that was great. But Derek ended up getting the KO in the end. Nascimento ate a few good shots before he actually ate the one that put him down. But round 3 KO for Derek. Derek his balls was hot again. Took his shorts off, waved him in front of the downed Nascimento. He pulled his cup out and threw it to a media member. He mooned the crowd. It was wild.
Yeah, Derek Lewis is nuts. I'm glad he got a win, because the more he can win, the more he can stick around. And this sport's better when he sticks around. I fight for him next. I had Jairzinho Rosenstruck, because I just feel like they haven't fought, and there's so many guys that have fought. It might be a tough matchup for Derek. I don't know, but
I don't think so. I think Rosenstruck's there to get KO'd.
There's CTM in the comment. Buckley versus Gilbert Burns or Ian Gary. I think Wonderboy versus MVP is in the works. That's true. I do think Buckley missed out a call for a matchup instead of calling for Conor, which won't happen. That's a good point. It's nice to aim big, but you got to aim a little realistic too. Somebody did ask Dana in the press conference, is that fight going to happen? Dana pretty much said, no, I don't think so. It wasn't even like, it was this deadpan, like after they were putting Buckley over too. It was like, he had nothing but nice things to say. But when asked about the Conor fight, it's like, no. And I'm listening to this thinking like, of course that's not going to fucking happen. Like that's such a dangerous matchup when there's other big money fights. There's no way they would ever do that. So
right. No. Yeah, that would never happen.
But I do like the idea of a fight with Burns or Gary. That's pretty good. Yeah,
I think Gary's on the upward trajectory. He's not going to want to fight Buckley also coming up. But Gilbert Burns, that's good. That's a good matchup. I think Gilbert would take that.
All right. Well, moving on. We got a fight night this weekend, main event and co-main event to talk about here as well. Plus any other fights you want to point out of interest this weekend.
Prelims are pretty weak, but on the undercard, also pretty weak. But you do have Adrian Yanez, Angela Hill on the card, so shout out to them. But I think they're both pretty good favorites to win. So let's just go right to this co-main event. The always dangerous and exciting Chaos Williams versus Carlston Harris.
All right, Carlston Harris is 19-5, 5 KOs, 6 subs, 8 decision. He's 4-1 in the UFC with a couple performances of the nights. Chaos 14-3, 7 KOs, 1 subs, 6 decisions, 5-2 in the UFC and 3 performances of the nights. I just love I love Chaos Williams, honestly. He's one of those guys that kind of won me over, and maybe I'm picking with my heart a little bit here, but I'm gonna go Chaos round 2 TKO.
Yeah, Carlston is well rounded. He's got 3 anaconda chokes in his last 6 fights. He also had some wins outside of the UFC against UFC opponents before they made it in there. But Chaos has the obvious power advantage, as he does in most of his fights. There's always an above average chance of him KOing somebody, but I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to pick Carlston. I'm going to say round 1 submission, even though Chaos Williams has never been submitted. I'm going to say round 1 submission for Harris.
All right. Larry CTM is with me, but he also says that Harris is underrated, has only 1 loss, and that is to Shavkat. So
yeah, he got like wheel kicked or hook kicked, spinning hook kicked. So that's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of hook kicks, let's get to
this. Exciting main event here. Edson Barboza versus Lerone Murphy.
Lerone Murphy is undefeated, 13-1, 7 KOs, 6 decisions, and he's 5-0-1 in the UFC. Barboza, he's a legend. He's 24-11, 14 KOs, 1 sub, 9 decisions. Fight of the night like 9 times. Performance of the night 2 times. He's tied with Melvin Guard for 3rd most knockouts in UFC lightweight division history. He's one of those exciting fighters. It's just been around for a long, long time. He's always fun to watch, but I don't like him here. I don't like him in this fight. I think Leroy's hungry, and I got Murphy. I'm going to say the round 3 TKO.
Yeah, this should be a kickboxing match. I know Murphy has great skills. He's undefeated, but Edson's so much better than anyone else that he's fought. I know Edson's 38 years old, but I don't think he's washed yet. Father time will come for him at some point, but I don't think it is going to be this fight. So in a striking match at this point, I got to pick Edson. Going to be a real tough fight. Could potentially be very boring if they just stare at each other, but I'm hoping not. So I'm going to pick Edson. I agree with round 3, but I think it's Edson getting the KO.
All right. And I think Larry CTM is going to agree with you here. I'll take Edson via experience. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smart man, this Larry. He's a smart man.
He is. Glad we got him in the comments. Unfortunately, short show today. We are getting in and out of here today. We got stuff to do. So, Chevy, why don't you tell people what we got coming up one more time?
All right, May 25th, we'll be reviewing this current fight night for the UFC and also talking about Usyk versus Fury. And then June 1st, we'll be previewing UFC 302 Makhachev versus Poirier, the Gilly Goose. And then June 8th, UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Imavov.
All right. excited for some of those fights, especially Poirier and Makhachev. I'm interested to see how that goes down. But in the meantime, thank you for everybody tuning in, especially you, Larry. Appreciate you in the comments.
Yeah, shout out Larry.
Enjoy the fights for this weekend.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.